What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Chris, man. We are here at the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. It is Wednesday, November 27, 2024. It's the day before Thanksgiving. Just here chilling in my Minnesota apartment. My name again is Chris Drummond. I am a sports freelance journalist. Um, Once again, based in the Minnesota area, also proprietor of this podcast and also in sales. This podcast is called Work Hard, Play Hard, where I like to bring individuals on to talk about their why and get to know them outside of their occupation. I got a very special guest that's going to be coming on with me today. She is the CEO and founder of JSWJ, which is Jet Set with Jeannette. She's been an on-air personality, TV host as well. She is a travel journalist. Her name is Jeannette Ceja, and she's going to be coming on here to talk about her why of getting into journalism, and we'll get to know her a little bit outside of her occupations. Without any further ado, I introduce to you the wonderful, talented, and the beautiful Jeannette Ceja. Good afternoon. How you doing, dear?
Oh, okay. Hi.
Hello. How are you doing, dear?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's wonderful, wonderful to see your face. You look absolutely lovely. Love the hat, by the way.
Thank you.
You are very welcome. I also want to say thank you for coming on to my podcast, Work Hard, Play Harder. How are you doing this week? Do you have any Thanksgiving plans coming up? What's going on with your week so far?
Yeah. Oops, I kind of froze there. Yeah, I am excited tomorrow, Thanksgiving will be my first time celebrating in France. So, so I'm excited. There is a Thanksgiving feast for us here that is
Okay.
being hosted by my university. So I will be there
That
tomorrow.
is awesome to hear. I love that. I love that. I want to reiterate to you, Jeanette, why I wanted to have you on here before I start peppering you with all these questions. I know that you're a CEO and a founder of your JSWJ, which is Jet Set Net, basically in the travel journalist and giving tips and information about travel, which is amazing. I know you've been on air doing a lot of advocating about the travel as well with different kind of programming. I'm a journalist as well at heart. My genre is sports, so I love talking to people in different genres, getting to know their why. Everybody has a story to tell, and everybody's story is important and special, including yours. But it's so rare that we get a chance to sit down with each other and talk like this because we're always getting the story, we're always being an advocate, right? So it's really a pleasure to talk to somebody that's outside of my genre because I get to learn something new and also get to talk to you because I know we've been trying to do this for so long, but I'm just so happy that we finally get a chance to talk to you.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Chris. Likewise, sorry, just get my hair out of the mic. I'm a big believer in timing, like everything happens exactly how and when it's supposed to.
Absolutely.
So I'm so happy that we are connecting now. 1 month before 2025, the new year, we are, reflecting on this year and getting excited for the next year. And yeah, it's great. And I'm in France, so right now it's 8:06 p.m. And, I'm quite living my dream, which has always been to live in France. So I'm very happy to be here. And we are happy to connect with you because I think it's great the work that you're doing and your podcast and your show and your advocacy. And you really are so great because you keep up, you follow up, you don't give up. And that is a huge quality to have, generally speaking, but it's so good that you do that.
I appreciate that, dear. I really do. I love talking to different people. I love getting to know them, but I also love getting to know the different jobs. There's so many jobs in this journalistic kind of field. It's very interesting what people do, how people come into it. So I just love hearing the stories because everybody's story is different. And with that being said, as I always do, I start with this first question, which is, what is your why? What is your why of doing what you do? Did you have any role models growing up? Did you have any inspirations growing up, Jeanette? What is your why of getting into the journalism industry?
Such a great question, Chris, and such an important question because whenever I feel like, I'm having a hard time or things are moving slowly or anything, I always go back to my why. And my why is first and foremost so much bigger than myself. My why has transformed over the years, but as a young girl, my why really started when I would watch the news. I grew up in Southern California. My parents came from Mexico before I was born. So I grew up in a bilingual home where we'd watch Univision and we'd watch like ABC and
Right.
we'd watch Oprah and we'd watch Christina, so it'd always have these great perspectives and two cultures and two languages. So I actually thought I wanted, growing up, to be a foreign news correspondent because I would watch the news reporters tell me about what's going on with the world. So I always felt that connection to a global citizen. Like, I want to know what's happening, not just in my city, not just in my state, not just in my country. I want to know what's happening in the world. And so that seed was planted in me when I was a young girl. And
Okay.
then I would change the channel to the History Channel, the Discovery Channel, the Travel Channel. And then that's when my why kind of shifted from news to travel, because
Right.
travel and all these shows like the late Anthony Bourdain, Samantha
Mm.
Brown, who's still
Yeah.
doing travel shows on PBS now.
Yep.
Um, she was also formerly on the Travel Channel. So I remember watching them growing up and Rick Steves and being like, wow, maybe I want to do that. Maybe I want to show people the world. I want to tell people about the world and all these beautiful, cultures and languages and cuisine. And I was like a sponge, like I was obsessed. And
Mm.
I would say that Samantha Brown to this day is a role model for me because she's a woman and she was one of the only women I saw at that time uh, hosting a travel show, showing me the world through her eyes, through her perspective. And then, of course, the late Anthony Bourdain, who was like one of a kind, and he was, yeah, he just was who he was. There's no one ever like him. There will never be anyone like him. But the way he
Right.
was able to bring people together through his love of cuisine and food, because he was a chef as well, was incredible. So the seeds started to be planted as I was getting older. But I remember also, Chris, I was subscribed to Cosmo Girl. It was this magazine.
Yep.
It was a
I know
version.
about that.
Yeah, it was a version. It was a version. I wasn't able to get Cosmopolitan at the time, but Cosmo Girl I was able to. And I remember that Jennifer Lopez was on a cover, and
Mm.
I was so positively impacted of seeing a Latina on a cover and just being like, wow, this is so amazing. And I think she'd either just wrapped Selena, the movie.
Oh yeah.
She was still up and coming at the time, but I remember being so impacted that there was a section in the magazine that said, write to the editor, let us know your comments or feedback. And I remember I was 16 years old and I remember handwriting, okay, because I didn't have a cell phone, I didn't have
Yep.
a computer, so I
Yep.
hand wrote them to the editor, and I just said, "Thank you so much for putting a Latina on the cover. It means so much, to see her thrive." Like something on that lines. I mean, I have that magazine now, 20 plus years later.
Wow.
My mom
Okay.
has one, and I was able to track one down on eBay um, of
That's
the
amazing.
they have those archives magazines. So, but imagine, Chris, I was a 16-year-old girl and I was so impacted that I took the action to physically write and send it in the mail with zero expectations, just to let them know, like, your work, the work that you're doing, and the women that you're highlighting and celebrating and supporting, it's impacting me as a 16-year-old girl. And I just want to say thank you. And
That's
so,
amazing.
yes, thank you. And so then I think a couple of months later, one of my best friends to this day, Isabel, she was like, Jeannette, did you write to Cosmo Girl? Because she was also subscribed. And I said, Yeah, why? Because I didn't really tell anyone that I did it because,
Right.
right? And she said, because you're the only Jeannette Ceja that I know who's 16 years old who lives in Franklin, Tennessee, because I lived in Franklin, Tennessee by that time.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh. And so long story short, I got the cover. Beyonce was on that cover. And
Okay. All
so
right.
I, yeah, which is another incredible, woman. Um,
Absolutely.
absolutely. So I remember going through that magazine and seeing my name printed and what I had wrote. So for me, that was a really pivotal moment, like for many reasons, right? Going back to my why, I felt heard. I felt, they actually took the time to read my little note and print it out and put it in a national publication. I felt
Right.
seen. I felt seen. Having Jennifer Lopez on a cover, this young Latina girl who didn't feel seen maybe in other ways or industries or media, I felt seen. And so that like just empowered my why, like, wow, like my voice does matter, like, and also the importance of representation, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Absolutely.
I'm sure I'm not the only one who's been impacted by, women or by other leaders and just in different industries, but I know that for me, if I see it or I saw someone doing it, something that I always wanted to do, then I thought, wow, it's really possible. So back to my why. Now in my 30s in France,
Yeah.
I my why is, as I'm getting my master's degree in international relations, I'm
Mhm.
learning French as well with a goal to be trilingual so that
Okay.
I can, communicate and help and be of service in more languages than English and Spanish, which is already like I'm so happy to be bilingual, but I always want to challenge myself and keep
Yeah.
growing. And with this degree, I really want to see how I can better serve and, be of value on a global perspective as far as travel, tourism, diversity, women. And then my other why is I have three nieces. They are like the loves of my life.
Mhm.
They're all, young girls, and they look up to me. They look up to Auntie Jeannette, to Tia Jeannette, and they watch
Right.
me. They watch me on TV. They listen to, my podcast. I FaceTime them wherever I am in the world. I send them postcards. So like I try to show them as much as I can, like the work that I'm doing, the world, that they can see through my perspective. And
Absolutely.
yeah, so it's great. It's great, Chris. Like I have so many whys, and also students. For me, students are so inspiring, and I love when students reach out to me to speak to their class, to speak to their, you know, university, to do interviews. Like I've been interviewed a lot by students in undergrad and high school, and to me, it's like it's such an honor, right? Because it's my way of giving back, and hopefully, I'm helping, and I don't know.
No, you're good. You're awesome. No, that's it's a lovely why. I love that answer to the first question because we're already off on a good start. I love that. I love the fact that you love paying it forward and being a representation in this industry. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to really reach out to you is because we have a lot of correlation, you and I. I'm definitely in my 30s as well. We're probably around the same age, close for sure. I'm late 80s growing up, so with that. But also, I'm getting my master's as well. I also want to pay it forward because I substitute teach as well. I like to tell my young boys and girls in high school about this journalism field and like to give them advice on that. I love the fact that you said that, you wrote in Cosmo Girl.
Yes.
And that was something to where you got your stuff written, some people read. And for me, in high school in the early 2000s or around that time, the reason why I became into sports was the Lakers. I also grew up in Southern California, which was in San Diego to be exact. That's where I went to high school and everything at, and I love the Lakers. I love basketball, Shaq and Kobe. That's the reason why I love sports and fell in love with that. So I totally understand when you say that it correlates with you, right? Seeing representation, but also just kind of tying it in and your reasoning why you would get into that. Um, I think one of the best reasons, though, I wanted to talk to you is because you are a woman in this industry, and I feel like us men, we need to empower women even more. I feel like we need to empower all of us, like for sure, but we need to empower women more. There's not enough faces when I go to events of sports and different things of that nature. I don't see enough women faces. I definitely don't see enough ethnic faces for sure when it
Mhm.
comes to women, and that's bothersome because I'm an ethnic person. You're an ethnic person as well, and I love to see my queens shine. I really do.
Oh,
I love to see that. I love to see other brothers shine too. And don't get me wrong, I support everybody. But
yeah.
really, if we support women more, it makes our industry even better. The perspectives are better, the stories are better. We're just all connected instead of, where you see sometimes, especially in my genre in sports, you don't really see a lot of women photographers when you go to
Mm.
some of this stuff, and you don't see a lot of women writers. And we need more women in the room like that, especially in hierarchy positions. So I love your why. And that's kind of my why too. I want to push the narrative, and I'm going to do that.
Yes.
Like that for sure.
Oh, that's so great, Chris. We have so much in common. Yes. What is your master's in? Did you
Yeah,
say that?
absolutely. Professional writing. So I got my undergrad in journalism and emerging media. And then what I wanted to do was get my master's because I want to also be able to teach. I want to be able to pay it forward. I love this industry. I've been in it for about 6, 7 years. But at the same time, I want to also have an outlet too. I still love covering events, writing stories. I've learned so much through my time here. And now I'm freelance, which is
Yeah.
great. I love being freelance, being able to go and just cover different things and professional, because I also want to go into professional level as well. But I covered high school and college for a few years, and talking to those young kids made me want to get my master's and pursue teaching.
I mean,
So I want to be able to pay it forward like that and be a mentor. I'm already kind of a mentor, so I just want to kind of do it on a level to where I can teach and be able to mentorship in the classroom as well.
wow, I love that, Chris, and I commend you. I think that's so great, and incredible that you are a mentor and you are a role model, and you putting yourself out there, and even what you do now with your interviews, you're very proactive. You're getting a lot of great, stories from people of all different, backgrounds, walks of life, industries, and it's really important. So thank you for all that you do. And I also do freelance now because, this program that I'm in is also, it's very intense. It's incredible, but it does challenge me in more ways than I
I can imagine.
expected. But I was in Switzerland 2 weeks ago, and
Mm,
part of my course is diplomacy and human rights. And so our professor had set up a trip for our cohort to go to the United Nations, which is in Geneva, and the United Nations Human Rights Coalition, so where they have an office for human rights, and then we also went to the U.S. Mission, and then the International Red Cross, which has an office and a museum there. And again, it
right.
was really eye opening from this perspective, from being in Europe and also seeing all of the major institutions, NGOs. Um, that are on this side of the world. And it's very common here too in Europe that everyone speaks at least two languages, maybe three. And so it's really pushing me to really, really want to learn French, and then maybe pick back up on Italian because I studied that, when I was in undergrad, college. But language is like a muscle; like you don't use it, you lose it. So it's something that I'm constantly trying to do. So I want to be a trilingual travel host, journalist, and producer. My big dream is still to do a international travel show.
Mm,
Because that's been my dream since I was a young girl. And I have gotten to do, some shows and hosting and many, speaking and master of ceremony kinds of work, which has been so incredible throughout my career. But I'm still hopeful for that, that one show that will
Truly.
happen.
I have the complete confidence in you, Jeanette, that that will definitely happen because your work ethic shows. I mean, anybody that sees your reel, anybody that sees your videos, they know that you're passionate about doing this.
Mhm.
So it's no surprise there. I'm sure all your family and friends tell you that over and over, and I'm here to tell you as well. There's no question. I love
Thank
what you're doing.
you.
You're welcome. I want to ask you about Belmont University.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh, yeah.
very familiar with Belmont University. Nashville is one of my favorite places to go for a plethora of reasons, Jeanette. That that's a whole story within itself. Why is one of my favorite places? But tell me, were there any other choices that could have persuaded you from going to Belmont University in Nashville?
Yes, so I actually was looking when I was applying to Belmont, I was also looking at USC.
Mm,
So staying in Southern California, was also like UCLA. But
mm,
because my parents had moved to Tennessee,
mm,
specifically Franklin, when I was in middle school and then high school, I kind of had the two worlds of living, growing up and living in Southern California, and then a chapter of my life in Tennessee. And so I actually went to Belmont because I was so close for a campus tour. And
sure.
I fell in love with the campus because everybody was so nice. The classes were smaller in the sense that was more private, that the I felt like the professors would really get to know you by name. You're not just a number. And then price was a factor as well, because if I, went to Belmont, I would save more money by staying there, because at that point I was like out of state in California, and then USC
Right.
and any other school, it would just would like the price would have been way more higher. But also in
Sure.
retrospect, Chris, I'm so grateful because through Belmont, I met my professors who became some of my biggest mentors and supporters. And I got to also spend time with my family, which I will always treasure. Especially, my father passed a couple years ago, and so for me, it's like having all those memories and time with my family was really special. And but Belmont, I'm a proud Bruin, and they have asked me several times to go speak, like to journalism students or just to speak to students. And I was a mentor for a year for two undergraduate students as part of their mentorship program, as a way to give back and help, in any way. And I think and especially as we get older, Chris, we, you know, like you're helping so much with the youth and mentorship, and you want to be a professor.
Mhm.
I feel similar. Like I feel like I really want to help, especially students, because I feel like that's the time where their trajectory can really change. Like if they
Sure.
understand that there's opportunities for them, whether it's media or travel or aviation, for example, like they can pursue it. Like there's
Right.
possibility. And so for me, another dream that I've had was, if I could go back in time, and it's never too late, but I'm kind of happy where I'm at now. But I would have been an astronaut or a pilot
Mm,
because I
okay.
really, really love flying. I'm an aviation geek. I love learning about planes. I've flown a couple on private lessons,
Oh, okay.
small Cessnas, but always with an instructor, never never alone. But that's how much I love flying. I love being in the air. So yeah, but now, now that I'm at where I'm at, I could interview pilots, like women pilots, for example, and share their stories for future generations. So I think there's always ways to find stories, especially as journalists. Um, like stories that are not heard as much, and you never know. Like even with myself with Cosmo Girl, it's always full circle moment. You never know who's reading. You never know who's watching. You never know who's watching your show. You know, YouTube. You
Oh,
never know who's looking at your LinkedIn. You never know who may be impacted by you doing what you love. You being, representation of someone else, of a possibility, of, so for me too, it's great. It's what keeps me, it's what keeps me going.
I love it. I do. And listen, there's the first start off, there's so many different wonderful colleges in Nashville with Lipscomb, Vanderbilt, Belmont. And it's just a great city. Great Nashville's a great city. It's somewhere that you grew up, and that's awesome that you definitely had that mentorship with those couple of students for that year, and you gave back by going and speaking to those speaking engagements. That's amazing. I love that. I always love asking that question because I love to see the reasoning behind people picking the schools that they did. And that's another thing that we also have in common is because we were in the same sport conference because Belmont was in the Atlantic Sun Conference for a while before they moved. And I went to Kennesaw State, which is also in the Atlantic Sun Conference in Kennesaw, Georgia, which that's where your mom was, or your family was in California, moved to the Southeast. My mom moved to the Southeast as well, moved to Atlanta, Georgia. So
Wow.
a lot of similarities with that for sure, and I love that. I really do. I want to ask you some favorite questions today, and you
Yeah, yeah,
the 411 off the rip based upon these favorite questions. Are you with me?
I'm with you.
Okay, let's rock with it. Let's do it. Favorite meal you like to cook?
Ooh, wow, 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 wow. That's really that I like to cook. Well, I'm vegetarian, so I'll just preface with that. So I like to cook soup. Like, I like to make different kinds of soups. I know that's probably really boring, but especially like in the winter, the autumn, like right now, especially here in the south of France, it's really cold. I love to make these, fresh soups. And then there's all these outdoor markets where all the, people come, like a farmer's market, and you buy the most fresh fruits and vegetables. So I just like to, make soup.
Okay. Now I'm a huge cream of broccoli. That's the soup that I love. I love that soup. Now I am a carnivore. Not gonna lie about it. Definitely got meat in these bones for sure. I'm a huge steak person, but when you're a journalist, you're always on the go. When I was working full time in publications, my shift was 2 to 11, sometimes 3 to 12. So I want to whip up something really fast. Or if I was prepping, I would do tacos. A lot of times I do tacos. I could cook some mean tacos for sure.
That's
Okay.
that's good. Yeah. And for myself too, like always on the go. Yeah, I like to get creative, like, maybe like a yogurt or make like a cool wrap or something.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I'm also flexitarian because I'm vegetarian, but I can be flexible and eat meat on like rare occasions.
Like that.
Especially if like, yeah. So like if I'm traveling and I'm somewhere and someone's home, I don't want to be rude and not eat, but yeah,
I feel that.
99.9% of the time I'm vegetarian.
I feel that and respect that quite a bit because that means you are allowing us carnivores to eat more meat and it's not going with you for more. So I love that. I appreciate that. But I love vegetables too now. I love all kind of vegetables and stuff like that. Favorite concert, Jeanette, that you've ever attended?
Favorite concert. It's a tie between Lenny Kravitz
Ooh,
and yes, and which he's still doing concerts, and I think he's coming to Marseille next year, so I'm gonna definitely try to check him out there. Lenny Kravitz and Ricky Martin, because they both know how to, give you a great show, dance, sing, and I didn't sit down for like 1 minute at either show. So I would say Ricky Martin and Lenny Kravitz.
okay. Now I definitely love me some Lenny Kravitz. I go all the way. We go all the way back to probably knowing "Are You Gonna Go My Way" with Lenny Kravitz. If you remember that song, uh,
Yeah.
no question, definitely go back to that. And Ricky Martin. I mean, who don't like some Ricky Martin song? You definitely like some Ricky Martin. I think the concert that I like the most. I'm a huge R&B and hip hop person. There'd probably be a tie between Alicia Keys
Wow.
and Jay-Z and Kanye. Those two for sure. Now the concert that surprised me the most that I went to was Ozuna. When I went and saw Ozuna, that surprised me because he got a nice little beat and vibe to him. So his songs are not very like, you know, And, I didn't understand most of the words that were being said, Jeanette. I didn't understand that, but I had fun because I went there and I wanted to learn something new and I wanted to see something new. And Ozuna is a really good artist for sure.
Amazing, incredible.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think you
yeah,
saw some good shows.
absolutely, no question. Now this is your question. This is your favorite question. Now, I always ask this: favorite place you've ever traveled to?
Yes, that is a great question, Chris. Okay, okay. So I've been to 63 countries so far, and I
Wow.
have to, and I have to say, I have to narrow it down to three because one is just too difficult for me. So I would say Egypt,
Mm,
um, India, and I have to go with Mexico, the motherland. Every time I go
yeah.
back,
Mhm.
it's so special. This year I went to Oaxaca for the first time.
Okay.
Oaxaca, that's a beautiful, city with like it's just colorful, and that is also a very popular destination for Dia de los Muertos. It's like,
Mhm.
do you remember the movie Coco, Disney movie
Yep.
Coco? That is
Yep.
like that's like Oaxaca, and it's the food is oh my goodness, like the best Mexican food I've had, and I've had Mexican food like my entire life. Um,
Mhm.
and I would say Mexico City, where my mother is from. I go there at least once a year, and it's such a big city. Have you been, Chris, to Mexico City?
Not Mexico City, but I have been to Cancun, Cabo San Lucas, and Temecula. I've been to those three.
Okay, so you've been some great parts of Mexico. Yeah, those are amazing. But
Mhm.
I will say I recommend Mexico City, and I'm biased because my mom is from there. But I will
Sure.
say I have gone, I'm not kidding, at least 25 times. Once
Oh.
since my mom said we went when I was 9 months old as a baby. So I had my passport when I was 9 months old to go visit her family, our relatives. But
Mhm.
I have gone so many times, Chris, and I've never had the same experience. I never can say like I know the city because it is that big, and there's constantly new places to eat, new places, museums, and
Mm.
Frida Kahlo has her house there.
Yep.
Her
Okay.
husband Diego Rivera has a lot of
Yep.
his artwork there. Um, they have Solchimilco. Solchimilco is like those boats, they call them trajeras, that they go on the canals, and that's
Okay.
where when the Aztecs used to live there, they would use those canals, like to get to
Okay.
travel. So it
Yeah.
has really cool history. And then of course, Mexico City, 40 minutes away by car, is Teotihuacan, the pyramids of
Mhm.
and so now you can go over them in a hot air balloon, which I did, I think, a year or two ago. So really, really, really incredible. The food, they had their first, this will interest you, Chris. They had their first taco stand Michelin star in the world is in Mexico City. So
Mhm.
a taco stand has a Michelin star and it's in Mexico City. So,
Okay.
and it's the
Mm.
first in the world. So if that tells you, and you like tacos, you will love Mexico City.
Absolutely. I mean, Mexican food is my favorite food. So anything Mexican food, I'm down with it. I have to add another city that I went to because I just recently went on a cruise last month. Uh,
Oh,
my dad set it up. Cozumel. I went to Cozumel, Mexico,
oh,
as well. Got a chance to see some of the pyramids there, some of the ancient things that they were talking about with the tour guide. That was amazing. Going there. It was hot, no question about that. It was definitely sporty, but it was such a good time. And they had some really good food, tacos and cerveza, which I'm always down with that. I'm always down to have a good cerveza, nice and cold. So that was really cool. But my favorite place that I went to was probably Jamaica.
wow,
And that's because it was just a very beautiful water. The water was so blue. I got a chance to swim with the stingrays. I got a
wow.
chance to do different things. Yeah, I'm hooked, Jeanette, with travel because this year I just got my passport. So
Ama-
I just got my passport this year to be able to travel outside of the US. But years ago, I was young enough to where you didn't have to have a passport to get to, Mexico and different countries like that. So now I'm planning a third cruise, but my second cruise is pretty much complete. I'm going to Greece. next year.
Wow.
Yeah, we're going to Greece on a solo trip. But it's a group. It's going to be like a group, but it's solo for me because I just love to travel. I love going different places. I've been to pretty much every state in the U.S. Just to travel and do different things. I want to see different things, experience different culture. I definitely will go back to Mexico City. There's no question about that. And France is also on my list
Yes,
as well.
yes,
So no
yes,
question about that. I definitely want to
yes.
get there and try that experience too.
Absolutely, Chris. I'm so excited for you. And then, I have not been to Jamaica, so that is incredible. I'd love to learn more about Jamaica. Um, and Greece, your cruise to Greece sounds incredible. And yeah, definitely. I feel like once you're in Europe, everything is more like the public transportation is so good here, like the trains, the buses. I walk whenever I can, but I was just in Cannes over the weekend, and I just took a train and did my solo trip, and then came back. And then I'll be heading to Paris this weekend. But it sounds really far from when we're in the States, but once you're here, I'm not even kidding. I got a plane ticket to Venice, Italy for $65. So once you're here, you can travel, like it could cost less than, I don't know, 100 if you take a train or if you take a plane, depending on the season too, right? Because we're getting into high season, we're getting into the holidays.
Right.
Christmas and New Year here is very popular.
Mhm.
Thanksgiving, not so much, but people are still
Right.
traveling. I feel like in the States, that's more happening this week. But
Sure. Absolutely.
coming up in the next couple of weeks of Christmas and New Year, Europe is just, and France, yes, is definitely,
Mhm.
one of the top destinations in the world. So I would definitely recommend you come here to France. You have a friend here, so if you need any recommendations, yeah, it's great.
Absolutely. We would definitely have to grab some dinner. There's no question about it. I would love to be able to see you and see the
Yeah.
city and be able to do that. There's no question it's on my bucket list for sure to be able to come to France. This next question here is a sports question. I'm a sports guy, so I gotta ask a favorite sports question. Favorite sport you like to watch on TV? Favorite sport you like to attend in person? They can be the same sport.
It is the same sport for me. So I will say it's football, so soccer. Um, but
Mm,
growing up, my brother and my father were obsessed with football, with soccer. And so I kind of grew up watching, all the Serie A, Mexican leagues, of course, the World Cup.
sure.
In Mexico, it's like soccer is like the sport. So growing
Right.
up, and it was always in the household. And then I went to a Boca Juniors game in Buenos Aires by myself.
Hmm.
I went to the World Cup in Brazil by myself. I went to
Hmm.
two World Cup games. At the time,
Okay.
it was like it was 10 years ago, 2014. And at the time, everyone said, Jeannette, it's so dangerous. You can't go by yourself. You don't know anyone, and da da da. I went anyways, and had the best time. And that's the thing, it's like traveling, especially alone. Yeah, I understand. You have to be vigilant, you have to be very careful, but it can be very empowering too when you travel alone because you realize
Hmm.
like you can do it, you're confident, you can enjoy your own
Hmm.
company, you're
Yep.
self-reliant, and so yeah, so I went there to Brazil, and then just recently, Chris, I saw Real Madrid play in Madrid in
Oh, okay.
September. Yeah, in September. So I'm really, really grateful for all the opportunities to see soccer around the world, football. So yeah, favorite sport. I can watch soccer all day, every day.
I love it. I love it. I'm a sports fanatic, obviously. I'm somebody who loves all of the organizations, football, Americano football, basketball, whatever it is. I'm really with it. So I love it. I do love that answer for sure. I would love to see a soccer match there. You see it sometimes on like YouTube that people be wilding out and just acting crazy. But to your point, I do like to travel alone, and I know that's maybe an unpopular thing, but at this point, I'm like, I'm living my best life. I really don't give a damn if anybody like opposes that or not. But I'd rather travel alone because, like you said, you get to do what you want to do. You're not really, catering to really anybody else. Because when you're in a group, you kind of got to go along with the group. You don't want to separate yourself. But with traveling alone, you get to experience what you want to experience. You get to go to places that you want to go to. Yeah, you got to be careful regardless whether you're in a group or traveling by yourself, period. Because there's all kind of people out there. But I think you experience more by yourself. And then you just get to meet people. That's me. Like, I would love to just go and meet somebody, maybe, go sit down at a coffee shop, or if I see somebody, or go talk to them, say hello. Um, learn something new. That's me. I love to be able to do that. I'm kind of a I kind of think a little bit differently because I want to be different. I don't want to be like the average person when it comes to in life. Like, I love to do different things and experience different things and go different places that people don't necessarily have on their bucket list to go. I want to do that because I want to experience it and have a perception for myself instead of listen to somebody else's perception. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I think it's just like language. It's like traveling solo is like a muscle.
It
So you
is.
you put your toes in the water and then you're like, oh, okay, this isn't so bad. And then maybe go in further and the deep end is like where you go really outside your comfort zone. And it's kind of empowering. I think you're like, wow, I'm in this different country, this different culture. I don't know anyone, I don't know anything, but I'm here and I'm excited to meet, the locals and I'm excited to try
Right.
their cuisine and
Right.
it's so amazing. And I think I'm like I'm very like you. I think I'm too comfortable alone now. Like I think I
Right.
like
Right.
I like traveling alone maybe too much, but they all have their great, periods like family travel, if you're traveling with
Sure.
your partner, like a couple, or like
Yeah.
traveling alone, or you're traveling with your family, or you're traveling like it's all beautiful. So I think as long as people are getting out there and traveling, it can be local, it can be far away. Like I always say that travel is a mindset too. Traveling is when we walk outside our front doors, we're travelers. We don't know who we'll see, where we'll meet, even if we go the same route every day. Um,
Right.
and I think that's also what I love about journalism is you learn from the other person. You get to learn from their stories, from their experiences, and for me, I always come out more wiser, more open-minded, more like wow, that I learned something. So
Absolutely.
I think travel does
Absolutely.
that too.
You're absolutely right about that, Jeanette. No question. Last of the favorite. I'm a foodie. I like to eat. Favorite place that you like to eat at around there? Because we're definitely going to try that place out once I come there to France for sure.
Yeah. My favorite place to eat here. I just like any bistro that is around.
Okay.
In Paris, that I'll be at this weekend. Wow, there's so many. The thing is like in these places, in these cities, in France, you find all these gems that are like really hidden off the beaten track. So I just have to say, like I keep searching and finding new favorite places. Um, there's one, and I can't think of the right name, but it's one here in Aix-en-Provence. It's called Le Rameau. Le Rameau.
Okay.
I think I'm saying it wrong for sure, but it is really great French cuisine.
Mhm.
Um, and everywhere I go, like in every country, like it's similar experience. I like to go for walks, explore, get lost, and try new places. I always,
Absolutely.
yeah, and there's another tip. I always ask the locals, where do you go to eat? And
Right.
then that's when they tell you, like, oh, we go, you know, wherever that's like off the beaten track, or it's not where tourists go. It's like where the locals go. That's where I always want to go eat.
Sure. Sure. I'm with you on that. I'm with you. Okay. I like that. Let's talk about your day to day. As you know, as a journalist like myself, when I was in publication, even freelance,
Mhm.
our days are never the same. They're always different. Sometimes they can be extremely long. Sometimes they can be extremely difficult, and it's no different from any other occupation. But in that sense, but journalism is not really an 8 to 4, 9 to 5 type of business type of job, right? You're working even after those hours because sometimes they're long. Talk to me about your day to day. Being a master's student, which I can relate to.
Yeah.
Talk to me about how do you go about getting bookings and getting yourself in a freelance type of role prepared and ready for what you're going to talk about.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great question. Another great question. The day to day changes during the week as opposed to the weekend, but I'll tell you, like for the week, now that I'm in this amazing master's program, I have 2 or 3 classes per day. And I usually start my day about 7 a.m. and I get ready for my 9 a.m. class. Usually my day winds down around 5 or 6, but on Wednesdays, my last class usually gets out late at the latest, and Wednesdays are my longest days. Um, but it's also like the hump. So you get over the Wednesday and then it's like a shorter week. So after classes, I either have meetings for school or I have to go to an event, for example, or something school related. But then usually like right now it's almost 9 p.m. So back in the States, it's depending where you are, like right now it's like 11 or noon in California.
Right.
As far as that goes, like my day is just starting for, back in the States. So it could be like this where I'm doing, interview. I'm, connecting with friends and family because my family's finally like, awake because when I'm awake, it's barely like 3 a.m. over there.
Right.
Um, so it's like this. So it's like catching up with friends, catching up with family, doing anything that may be, work related or family or friend related back in the States. And I tend to usually go to bed pretty early. I would say about 10. So I usually also like to squeeze in a gym, sometime at the gym in the morning.
Mhm.
And yeah, I try to get in by 10 p.m. so I can start my day really early. And I don't know, I just need a good solid 7 hours of sleep at least, really, to be able to really
Mm.
function. So yeah, so that's usually my day to day now. And the weekends, if I don't have too much, deadlines, I like to go travel, like locally, like take a train within a two,
Yeah.
3 hour radius, or,
Mhm.
and even Paris is a 3 hour, 3 to 4 hour train ride for me. Everything is within 3 hours of me, like all over. So I'm in the south of France. So it's really amazing. Like I said, public transportation is incredible, super cost effective, and super environmental friendly. So
Love it.
yeah.
I love it. I do because I'm a huge traveler. Like I said, I love to travel, love going to different places, and that excites me. It really does. It excites me because it's a country that I really would love to go to and learn about. And yeah, a continent, obviously in Europe. I mean, there's not enough countries in Europe that I that I can mention that I want to, go and see. But I'm definitely going to see a lot now that I have my passport. Be able to travel there
Yes.
for sure.
Yes.
I wanna ask you about mental health and work life balance. And being a journalist, I'm sure Jeanette, you've known some people in this industry that have kind of dived out and went to other occupations. I know I've met some as well
Mhm.
because mental health is more and more talked about nowadays than it was in the past. It was a sign of weakness to talk about that now, but now people are seeing it as strength as it should be seen. People are getting therapy for it and
Mhm.
getting all kind of just either getting medicated or just treatments period, right, or advice on it. Talk to me about how you keep your mental health strong, but also keep that work life balance. You seem like a wonderful woman to be around. Certainly I wouldn't mind being around you at all, but you also seem very busy and very passionate about what you do in the classroom or if you're doing something journalistic. So tell me, how do you keep that balance with mental health and with your mental health being strong? I should say?
Yes. So over the years, I have really reinforced and made sure to prioritize mental health. And I think physical health with that goes hand in hand. So for me, what really helps me, either in the morning, preferably, I do yoga, I go to the
Okay.
gym. Um, I like to do, or go, even just go for a walk outside, especially when it's
Mhm.
sunny. There's, a lot of studies out there, and that the sun, having some sun exposure can do you good, like it can actually help you feel better.
Right.
So like I try to, or like with nature, like find nature wherever I'm at and just connect with nature or just be still for a moment. That has really helped me over the years. I also do affirmations. I really try to do them daily. I'm a
Hmm.
huge believer in self affirmation, self affirming affirmations.
Yeah.
I've probably been doing affirmations for 6 years now, and it started in when I was in LA, and I was in my mirror, and I would look at myself in the eyes, and I would tell myself in the first person, like, I love you, I love you, I love you, I am enough, I am enough, I am lovable, I am lovable. Because I would read all these books and I would listen to all these motivational speakers, and I was like, I'm going to give this a try. I may look silly, I may sound silly, but who cares, right? It's just me, and what's the harm? Like, and I remember, Chris, when I was starting to do those affirmations in the mirror, like I would look myself in the eye and tell myself, tears would start to come down. Like, I was not expecting that. And I would see in real time how older Jeannette was telling younger Jeannette something she probably didn't really believe. So telling myself, like, I'm enough, or I'm lovable, or, whatever. Uh, I mean, I would just keep telling myself, and I was starting to really, really believe it. But, you know, I don't know. I really feel affirmations can be a great tool. And in my own journey, I've seen how it has helped me. Because I think that I'm still a work in progress. I think everyone is on their own journey. But now, where I'm at now, Jeannette, 2024, I am the most loving version of myself, meaning like I really do love and appreciate myself and understand my worth and understand that, I'm enough. And, I didn't know that in my 20s. I really didn't know that. I didn't really believe it either. I was always looking for that external validation to reaffirm to me. But now it's coming from an intrinsic place, it's coming from inside. And, people can either feel it or not feel it, but either way, I I really do have that self love, and I think affirmations have really helped in a lot of ways. So I always say, like, why not? And I also do vision boards. I do vision boards. I'm a huge visionary. I like to write things down. I like to put things in photos and images. And I really like to speak things into existence. I really like to listen to motivational podcasts. I really like to, it's what you read, it's what you listen to, it's who you surround yourself with. Because I like to surround myself with visionaries, with people that think of possibility instead of, oh, that's never been done for. Oh, you can't do that. Oh. Like, I like to think of people like, sure, why not? You know what? That would be great. Give it a shot. Who knows? Like, not the fear of failure. It's like I had the fear of success, not the fear of failure, because I failed also many times, but
Sure.
I got right back up, and I was like, okay, well, at least I'm trying. Like, at least I gave it a shot. At least I, went for it. And I learned not to take failure or rejection so personally, like I did in my 20s.
Hmm.
Now I think, okay, great. It wasn't the right time. It wasn't the right opportunity. It wasn't the right, moving on, like, keep it moving. Um,
Right.
and so those are some of the mindset shifts that I've had that have really, really helped me. And then just constantly reading and watching inspirational content, even who you have on your social media feed. Like, are you feeling, do they make you feel better? Do they make you feel worse? Like, do you feel like you're learning? Do you feel like you're growing? Like, I don't know. I think we all have a little more control of who and what we listen to, what we watch. And I really just choose to, listen and watch people who inspire me or motivate me or challenge me to want to be better. Right.
I love that. I
Mm.
do. I mean, you gave great answers all along, and that's probably the best one. All of them been really great, though. I love the fact that you talked about that. I love your transparency too, because we are looking for that fulfillment, right? When you first start off in this business, you're always on the go, but you're in prove it mode, Jeanette. Like you want to be able to prove yourself that you belong. You
Mhm.
want to have that validation that this is something that not only that I want to do, but I'm very good at doing. And sometimes you search for it and search for it, and you just never seem to find it. And that's the one thing that now, like you said, in my 20s, I was definitely looking for that. I was looking for that, pat on the back or that, that validation. And now in my 30s, I've realized that fulfillment is something that is a little different than just the validation part. Because now to me, it's just about doing what I love to do and having the most confidence in the world of doing it and doing it with a smile. And if I can do it with a smile each and every day that I get up, thank the Lord that I'm awake. That just means that my purpose is not done yet, and I still have a purpose here. And that's one of the things I like to advocate to my young girls and my young boys is that um, be comfortable being uncomfortable. And I like to say that. I really do. I live my life like that, Jeanette. Be comfortable being uncomfortable. Challenge yourself.
Same,
Try
same.
everything. Try everything in journalism, in life. If you don't like it, you tried it. It's okay. You can move on. But be comfortable being uncomfortable because life is not comfortable. There's going to be situations, not only in life but in this industry, that you're not going to like. There's people you may walk across you might not like. There's stories that you may get asked to do that you might not like. But if you can turn that uncomfortableness into a comfort, it would allow you to handle situations that are adverse better. And then you'll be better suited for this industry and better suited for life as well. And that's the implementation that I like to do and implement that in my life. Is that you must understand that being comfortable, being uncomfortable. And if you can just do that, you will work wonders in this industry. You really would. And yeah, it's something I like to advocate about and talk about a lot. And I clearly see that you're on that same wavelength. So I love that about you, which is amazing.
Thank you, Chris. Chris, I agree with you. I'm constantly, I mean, daily uncomfortable, but
Mhm.
because I'm challenging myself to grow. I'm challenging myself to speak a different language. I'm challenging myself to learn a different field, international relations,
Sure.
that is new to me in many ways. And I'm constantly uncomfortable because I have to look up in a dictionary what when I'm doing a
Mhm.
reading, okay, what
Yep.
does this word mean? What does this word mean? But I grow, and it's really like I love it because
Yeah.
if you're not growing, you're just existing, and I want to grow. I want to not just exist, and I want to be challenged, and I want to, yeah. So part of
I
that is,
always say that.
yeah, part of that is sometimes being uncomfortable, but that's
It
okay.
is. It is. I always tell my young boys and girls before I move on to the next question that if you're not striving for something goal wise or to grow in your life, then it defeats the purpose of existing. You always got to have something to strive for. Never be content. Never just be comfortable being. There's always something you can learn. You learn every day,
Mhm.
and you can take baby steps to get there. It's okay, but never be content with growth. Never ever be that. And I always tell my young kids that, and anybody who knows me knows that I live my life like that. I always want to learn from people and know of people because people are amazing, just like you, no question. So,
Thank you.
um, I wanna get to this next one here because it's advice. What is some advice that you would share with someone that's a postgraduate in college, maybe an intern, maybe somebody a little seasoned in age like ourselves that's interested in being in this industry? What kind of advice would you give them?
Yeah, well, the advice would be like, one, it's never too late. So it's never too late to change the direction or change the industry or go back to school. It's never too late, right? So it's
Right,
say like, start whenever, start however, whenever you want to. Another advice I would say is, even if you don't see someone doing what you want to do, it doesn't mean it's not possible. And maybe you will be that trailblazer that leads the new path, a new way. So don't let that hold you back either. For example, I wanted to be like the first Latina travel show host because I didn't see anyone like it. So I
right,
tried, my work was always leading up to that. But I didn't let it stop me. In fact, it empowered me. So maybe, if you see something or somewhere or, a dream that's you don't see yourself there, you don't see it happening, maybe that's your role to make it happen, right? Maybe you're the role model that needs to step up and be out there. So that's another advice. And then I would say, mentors are great. If you're in school, like internships, I did 4 internships.
mm,
Those really helped me a lot when I was an undergrad. I have mentors to this day,
yeah,
that help me in different aspects of my career. Self-development is so important. I would say self-development and mindset work, like that was really a game changer for me because once I knew my worth and value, and that my voice really did matter, and that I could get paid to do what I love, and I had a lot to offer and I had a lot of value. I think people will meet you there, the ones who also see it, and you don't need to chase or beg.
right,
The right ones will see and will know
right.
your worth.
So
So
true.
you don't
So
need to like lower it to,
right.
so that's another advice. And just constantly like reading, self-improving, growing, um, is something that I do still. So like I still do that daily. So I
I
think
love
it's,
it.
yeah. So those would be some advices and some guidance.
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, that really I love that last part though. Yeah, know your worth. And Jeanette, that's so tough, especially with incoming people that want to be in this industry because the thing is, another reason why that I wanted to do a podcast like this is because I want to show the A side and the B side. And the A side is what we love to do. We love being pillars in our community. We love being an advocate for people. We love going out storytelling in a plethora of ways, whether it's broadcast or in print or in whatever genre it is. We just love doing that with all of our heart. Um, but there's a B side, and the B side is that people have to understand the behind the scenes, right? There's long hours. Sometimes you're away from your family. Sometimes you have to move away from your family. Sometimes you have to miss holidays. Sometimes you have to do assignments, as we talked about, that you don't want to do. This is a beautiful industry. There's no question about it. But it is important that you know the A and B side before you make a decisive decision to want to be in this. Because if you do want to be in it for the right reasons, right? They see you on TV, the beautiful Latina that's on there talking about travel and doing what she loves to do. But Jeanette, there's a lot of people that help you, but you also do a lot behind the scenes to prepare yourself to get in front of the camera. It's not just you showing up reading the prompter, right? So you've done a
Right.
lot and you deserve your flowers. And most reporters that's in this position that do the same as you in different genres deserve their flowers, but they have to know what we go through in order to do that. Like, don't get a misconception of it or think about glitz and glam. It's important to know uh, that you get into this industry for the right reason.
Exactly. And thank you, Chris. I received that, and that was so beautifully said. And so thank you. And I will say that that goes back to what we were saying earlier and your question of what is your why? Knowing your why, because there were times that, like I said, I didn't get the job. I didn't get the gig, the story, you name it, right? Throughout my career, like dealt with rejection, dealt with failure, dealt with all this stuff, but I kept it moving, kept it moving. I mean, I like I didn't let failure, rejection stop or question myself. I just kept it going. So having working on that fear of success, which was the opposite, which is when I was successful, it felt uncomfortable because like, oh, people are watching me, people are seeing me, people are this. Um, but working on that is so you people may have the fear of success or the fear of failure. So
Sure.
or hopefully neither. But if you do have one or the other, it's good to be aware so that you can work on it and thrive and like yeah, you were talking about the B side. Definitely. There were times when, especially during the pandemic, when the travel industry was, nobody was traveling.
Yeah.
And I kept it going and I did a podcast, for sure. And I did some stories about, what people can do like locally, just trying to be of service in different ways. And yeah, I kept it going. I never let go of that dream, even during the hardest times, even and yeah, it may look glitzy and glamorous and but that's just one part, right? The part people don't see is the constant pitching ideas, pitching stories,
I
going
understand.
going to conferences, paying for my own ticket, paying for my hotel, paying for this, you know,
Yep.
meeting people, growing my community, growing my network. That probably takes, years, 5 to 10 years worth of, really planting the seeds, really nurturing everything, growing myself, investing in my own self, investing in my, Toastmasters for public speaking, investing in my hosting classes to how to become a better host, investing
Sure.
in my master's program so I can be, more knowledgeable about global affairs and the world from a different
Absolutely.
perspective and another language. So like everything is like reinvesting in myself and that's work. That takes a lot of work, right? It's
Absolutely.
a lot of work. So yeah.
That's why we work hard, we play harder. And that's really how I live my life. I like to do it, and you obviously like to do it. This is why this is a very, very good conversation that we're having. And I love that answer. I really do. I appreciate that answer, by the way. We have reached the podcast portion now to where we're going to do the interactive game called This or That. So basically, what this is I get to throw some things out at you, and you get to choose this or that. So, Jeanette, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. So, I'm going to ask this first one. I know you're vegetarian, but if you do decide to eat chicken, okay, which chicken place would you have chosen to eat at? Popeyes or KFC?
Popeyes.
Mm. Girl, we off to a good girl, you on point like a period. We off to a good start. I love it. I love it. Okay, here we go. If you would decide to choose chicken, which chicken wing flavors would you have chosen? Barbecue or lemon pepper?
Mm, lemon pepper sounds really interesting. I want to try that one.
Okay. Are you a buffalo girl? Do you like a little spice?
I do. I do. Yeah. And I'm Mexican. I like spicy. Come on now.
Mhm. I didn't want to. I didn't want to ask the obvious question, but I mean, I love to switch it up. I love to switch it up. I love buffalo too, by the way. That's amazing. Okay. Do you like your wings bone in or um, boneless?
If I were to eat it, I would say boneless. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm with you on that. Ain't no wrong with that. I love it. More meat. I love that. And if you do you like your wings wet or dry?
I don't know. Dry?
You know what? We'll go with that because wet
Okay.
means a lot of sauce on it. Do you like a lot of sauce and stuff?
I don't want to be all like, yeah, probably not
I
a
got
lot of sauce. Yeah.
you. Okay, we'll go with dry. We good with that. We good. Okay, here we go. The next four have to do with music concerts that you rather attend. Okay, so here we go. Which music concert, Jeanette, would you rather go to? Would you rather go see Pitbull or would you rather go see Romeo Santos?
Well, I did see Romeo Santos when he was in Aventura in Atlanta and Chicago. I was kind of obsessed, pre when he went solo. So I'd say Pitbull because I want to see something else.
Okay, yeah, the Romeo Santos concert. I used to do security when I was in undergrad back in Atlanta, Georgia. I did a Romeo Santos concert, and the ladies was ridiculous on that concert. I remember that. I mean, they were rushing the stage, and he just ate it up. So yeah, definitely no question. They go crazy for Romeo for sure. Um, which music concert would you rather go to, Chris Brown or Usher?
Usher, I think Usher, yeah.
Usher. Okay, okay. Now, which music concert would you rather go to? Would you rather see Brandy or Monica?
Mm,
Uh-oh.
Monica?
Yeah, yeah, you
Yeah.
sure?
I mean, I would be happy with either, to be honest.
Facts on that. I love both of those women. Did you get a chance to listen to the Boy Is Mine remix with Ariana Grande?
No, no.
Yep, all three of them are on that remix. It's definitely a good song. I love that. Okay. Which music artist would you rather see in person? Would you rather see Boys to Men or New Edition?
Boys to Men, 90s. Oh, the Boys to Men were the best.
Absolutely, no question about
Yeah.
that. That's what I like. I like that. I like those kind of things for sure. Which sport, Jeanette, would you rather play? Badminton or bowling?
Bowling, I think has
Are you good?
no, I'm not good at any sport, but I will say I have the most fun bowling. The odds are kind of more in my favor than other sports. So
Okay. Well, listen, if you teach me some French, I'll teach you some bowling. How about that?
deal,
Okay,
deal.
say less. I'm good. I'm good with the sport. So I'm good with you on that. Okay, here we go. Which sport would you rather watch on TV? Basketball or football? Americano football.
Basketball.
Are you a Lakers fan too?
Of course, Lakers fan. And also, fun fact, I was a basketball cheerleader in high school. So,
Okay,
so
okay.
yeah, I do love watching basketball.
Jeanette, you are like you're making me blush. It's just hard to tell. I'm so I'm not just being honest with you because it's awesome that you're a Lakers fan. It really is. It's so
Yeah,
awesome.
of course, Kobe. Uh,
Absolutely. That's pretty cool. It's pretty dope. Okay. This next one here has to do with desserts.
okay.
Do you like desserts?
Uh, oui, si, yes. J'adore. I love desserts.
Okay, here we go. So I'm gonna throw out four different categories of desserts. You get to choose one of these that you'll never eat again. Okay, so here we go. The first one is cookies. The second one is cake. The third one is ice cream. The last one is candy. Which one are you getting rid of?
I could do without cake.
Okay, okay, I got
Yeah,
you. I got you.
yeah.
What's your favorite ice cream?
Mm, good question. Mint chocolate chip from Thrifties.
Wow, you are taking it back to my childhood. Wow,
Yeah.
Thrifties. Okay,
Hmm.
I remember Thrifties. Thrifties, you used to go in there and get the little soft serve cone. They used to have the little soft serve cone that you
Yeah.
get. Yeah, because I remember being in the thrift store, but off to the side, there was ice cream. You can go to the little ice cream spot and get that. Yeah, wow, Thrifties, man. That was a California thing. You just brought a
Yep.
California thing up, so that's for sure. Okay. Do you like potato chips?
Yes, unfortunately, too much.
That's okay. Listen, that is all right. Everybody got to have a little bad in them at times to eat because they're so good. But here we go. I'm gonna throw four brands at you. You get to choose one of these brands again that you'll never eat again. Okay, so here we go. The first brand is Ruffles. The second brand is Lay's. The third brand is Doritos. The last brand is Pringles. Which one are you getting rid of that you'll never eat again?
I could do without Pringles.
You said you could do without Pringles?
Yeah. Yeah, I could do without Pringles. I mean, they're all great. I'm a big Dorito fan. I know they're, you know, I can all the flavors. Um, yeah, Lay's, Ruffles, they're like the best. But I would say out of all of them, I could probably do without Pringles. But
Yep, I
but
agree.
but Chris, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna have to go soon.
You are
I have to
no,
wrap
you're
it
good.
up.
You are so good. You are so
I,
good. Yes, absolutely. I only have a couple more questions, and that is advice. And last time we talked about advice that you gave someone, but what is some advice that someone has gave you that you hold on dearly to?
um, believe in yourself, which is still a constant. Believing in myself. You know, it may sound cliche, but like never give up. And these are things that I keep reminding myself. You know, work on yourself. So yeah, and I think it all comes. I think all the best advice has been to self, instead of focusing extrinsically, like success and all that, and opportunities. You know, working on yourself. I feel like when you show up as your best and you become your best, everyone comes to you as opposed to you going after everyone and everything. So I would say that.
I love that. I really do. Jeannette, this has really been an amazing conversation. It really has. Just really getting to know your backstory from growing up in California. My condolences hearing about your father. If I didn't say that earlier before,
Thank you.
thank you for sharing that. I really do appreciate it. Also going to school and growing up in Tennessee and Belmont, being a travel set journalist as well. Travel set with Jeannette, being the co-founder of that, people paying attention to you, you going to different platforms talking about travel. I'll be remiss to not ask this question. You said you went to 63 countries. I would like to have a top maybe 3 or 4 countries that you would like to visit that you haven't gotten to yet.
Wow, another great question. I would say Iceland because it's voted, you know, always in the top list of places to visit. I would say South Africa,
Okay.
um, and Bhutan.
Bhutan. Okay,
Yeah,
that's definitely
yeah.
a new one. Okay, I like that. I do. I do. I really do appreciate that, and I appreciate you, your heart, and what you're doing. And best of luck to you and your future endeavors. You and I would definitely stay connected. There's no
Yes.
question about that. And as I always do with my podcast guests here, the final question is always, is there anything else you would like to add about yourself, the job, or anything in general before we conclude?
I would just like to say, you know, to everyone, like, hello. And, you know, I'm just so grateful to, you know, to do what I do every day and reach out to me, follow me and LinkedIn, you know, X and Instagram, Facebook, etc. Like, connect with me. And, you know, I'm excited to see where everyone else is traveling. Like, it's not just about me, but if I can help, if anyone needs travel recommendations or travel anything related, reach out. So yeah.
Hey, that is awesome. That's amazing. Thank you for bearing with me again, Jeannette. And we will definitely be in touch. Have a happy Thanksgiving tomorrow, and you take care.
Thank you, Chris. You too. Bye.